All right, so I'm going to explain to you guys what tweens are. In my last video, we made a tween. We interpreted it. I made some little notes here, but I don't feel like the definition is adequate enough, so we're going to go over it a little bit more. So we have a tween. We have a property that we want to um, manipulate, and that property that we're manipulating is the value of health on a health bar. So it looks like this. Here's the health bar. If the health bar takes some damage, you'll notice there's a small green bar, or there's a green bar in front that reacts immediately, and then a trailing red bar that follows behind it slowly. So what's happening here is we have two bars that have the same value, but one of them reacts slowly and one of them reacts instantly. A tween is basically the computer interpreting that movement from a certain amount to a different amount. So this bar reacts instantaneously, and this tween, or this value, gets reacted to over time. So it depends on how much time you would like to have. This current setup is 0.8 seconds, and we use these two transitions. We use linear and easing in. We'll talk more about that. So that just basically means it's going to take 0.8 seconds for the bar to react to get from the starting location to the ending location. And it's going to use a linear movement, meaning like it's steady from start to end. This is an animation, or it's treated as an animation, so if you want it to actually happen, you have to tell it to start playing. Alright, so there are a lot of different options for us to choose whenever we are choosing our tweens. So here is that same setup we have here. I made a little scene for us to look here. Let's do linear here. This is the exact same setup. I'm using a 1-second timer over here. If I hit go, you can see that the asteroid here moves from one side of the screen to the other, and it takes 1 second to get from the left all the way to the right. That is linear motion, and it's using easing in. Now, unfortunately here, easing in and out has no bearing on this because it's linearly moving. It's moving at the same rate. So the easing really doesn't matter here. It's going to look the same no matter what. However, that's not always the same case, or it's not always the case for all of these. So if you look right there, we have a bunch of different types of tweens here. So we have sine. Let's take a look at sine. I'm going to set these all to sine, and we'll use easing in, and I'll hit go. And you see that the asteroid eases into the movement. It starts out slow, eases into the speed, speeds up, and then at the very end here, it just slams into the final location, and it's done. It took 1 second. Now, we can also use ease out. So what's going to happen here is it's going to just start out at maximum speed. It's going to go all the way to the end, and then before it gets to the very end, it's going to slow down. So they're all getting there at the exact same time because it's supposed to take 1 second, but that's the difference between easing in and easing out. There's some other options here. We could say in and out. So it's going to start up slowly, move up to speed, and then slow down at the end. So this middle one should start quickly, or it should start regular, get faster, and then slow down. So it should have both of those two motions. So you can see that it speeds up slow, moves fast, and then slows down. And then finally, this easing out and easing in. This one's kind of hard to really know what's going to happen. It took me a little while to figure out how it's going to work. So what it does is it's already going to start going at really fast speed. Then it's going to slow down in the center. Then it's going to speed back up, and then it's going to get to the end. And that one's not too intuitive, but it kind of makes sense when you think about it. Okay, now there's a lot of these. I'm going to show you another one. Bounce. We'll start off with that. And I'm going to put these all back on easing in. Okay, so what bounce does is it obviously bounces over here and then jumps to the other side. Let me give this a little bit more time so we can watch it happen. So I crank the time up to 3 seconds. So the ball bounces, or the asteroid bounces like a ball a couple times and then gets to the other side. Now, if we use the ease out, what you're going to see is that the ball is already falling and then bounces on the opposite side. Easing in and then out, it's going to bounce over here and then jump to the other side and bounce again. And then finally out and in. Really weird. Bounces in the center, then bounces in the center again and jumps over to the other side. Now, I should have a link to this tool for you guys to check out. There are a lot of different kinds of tweens and a lot of different easings. There's like 44 different combinations you could have. And it's really hard to decide what you're going to use when you're just trying to like type them in and look at each one of them. That's why I made this tool, so we could see what it's going to look like instead of just making it, testing it, and then, you know, spending a lot of time doing that. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys to understand what tweens are. Not only do tweens do motion, they can do things like size. Like if you wanted the size of this object to change, you could also use a tween to interpret the size or the color or the, I don't know, that's just a rotation. Literally all of those little properties that we've been messing with this year can have a tween do that. They can use a tween to interpret the motion and stuff. So for example, we could do the scale or the rotation. The only difference that's really going to happen here is, and it's going to go right back to what we were coding. That's why it's so important for you guys to put comments on stuff so you can come back and look at it. So we are calling the tween to start with, and we're saying we want to interpret the function of this tween. So there's something in this tween right here that we want to change or mess with, whatever you want to say. What we're messing with, this tween needs to mess with something, and the thing that it's messing with is right here, the health bar. What inside of the health bar are we messing with? We are messing with its property called value. Now you could just as easily, instead of messing with value, you could come over here and mess with, I guess this is not really the best thing to choose, but you could do the color. You could transition from the red color to another color, and that would just be over here. So you would put color there, or I think it's color. Maybe you'd put progress tint. You would put tint progress right there. You would put tint progress in there instead of value. And then it would say, what is this? Where do you want to start from? And you would say, I want to start at this tint, and then I want to end at another tint. And then how long do you want to take? How much time do you want to take from moving from this color to another? And then using the two easings there, and then start the animation, and it will do that. Tweens are a really good way to add some juice to your game, so it's not just so cut and dry. It adds some feeling to it, and it's really very helpful. All right, I hope this was helpful to you. This was my just a brief explanation of what tweens are, how they work. Again, this tool should be in Schoology, or I'll probably have a link somewhere to it. All right, you guys have a great day.